Welcome to BizWack. Brought to you by Hugh Hamilton Leadership Group. Featuring Brandon Litun from Smoking Gun Coffee Roasters. All right, here we go. BizWack. Tigera, Hugh Hamilton here. Our special guest today, Brandon Litun from Smoking Gun Coffee Roasters.
Happy to be here.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, well, thanks for the invite.
It's great to have you, buddy. Where did the name Smoking Guns Coffee Roaster come from?
Well, there's only one gun. It's just one smoking gun.
Said guns. Yeah. One gun.
Yeah. Man, I get asked this a lot, and I wish I had just like the coolest, most romantic answer. But when I fired it up, it was like in that time where everybody was naming their businesses just two cool words put together.
Right.
I'm from Alberta originally, so it's kind of like, it's like kind of a nod to my cowboy heritage or something. Coffee smokes when you roast it. I don't know.
It is a cool name.
Later on, what I tell people, which is not really the truth, is like, it's the alliteration, like the last piece of evidence, kind of thing. We have no, like, I'm not like pro-gun. There's no like, I don't know, thing there. But yeah, it's just like, what are two cool words to put together?
That was
cool.
That was everything I hoped that answer would be.
Yeah. My wife calls it smoking hot.
Smoking hot.
Smoking hot. And
Wow.
at the beginning, it was a mistake. Now it's a joke between us. But I'd have to keep reminding her, it's smoking gun, baby.
This is good coffee. I'm going to be very honest with you. I came here with a McDonald's coffee. I can't believe it.
I noticed that.
Yeah, Hugh looked at me like, what are you doing? But you brought us coffee. It's good. Like that like over rich. Why I got a single, if that's what you call it. But this is good. Just cream. You brought a little bit of cream.
Just a little cream.
So like, let's just get right into the beans. What's going on with the beans? Where are you getting your beans from? They're not those weird cat poop beans.
No,
Okay.
no, we're not doing the cat poop beans.
Good.
Yeah, I mean, like,
I've never even heard of that.
this could be a really
Google
short podcast. I just go down by Kirkland bags and then repackage them. And
Yeah.
sell them. That's the ticket.
So the key is like smoking them?
We get all of our beans
No chance.
from all around the world, working with several importers. And I guess the magic of coffee is like, it's kind of more like wine, I guess. So coffee is a fruit. It's not actually a bean, it's a seed.
Okay.
Big mic drop moment there in the podcast. So the seeds, we all call them beans. So I call them beans too.
Right.
But yeah, where they're grown, how they're cultivated, kind of elicits different flavor outcomes. So whether it's grown in Africa versus South America, the way it's processed, sometimes they come out fruitier, sometimes they come out more chocolatey. We often get asked because on our bags we have like tasting notes like chocolate and like almond and stuff like that. And we have people come and be like, I can't. Do you have any coffees without nuts in them? I'm allergic. And I'm like, well, we're not adding these things to them.
Man.
But yeah, it's sort of like, your different wines have different sort of like flavor profiles, very similar to coffee.
You know,
How'd you, sorry, Tom.
no, go ahead.
How'd you get into coffee roasting?
That is a good question. I kind of rattled around the coffee industry through high school and university, like working in coffee shops back home in Calgary, and was always sort of interested, as much as anyone gets interested in anything, and went through university, totally different focus. But I found myself in the career social work. So I did that for quite a while.
In Calgary?
No, this was here in BC. So graduated from U of V and worked in social work for quite a while. And I very quickly found that though the work is important, it's excellent work, it's actually work I felt like I was pretty good at. I was having a really difficult time coping. It was really heavy stuff, really upsetting stuff, really emotionally charged stuff. And for whatever reason, I was reading weird Reddit posts about how people were roasting coffee out of like those old popcorn poppers, like think like at your grandma's house, like the air poppers.
Yeah.
I remember
And
those,
so my in-laws had one in their cupboard. And so I went on Amazon and bought some green coffee and started into it, read some blogs. And I remember the first time I did it in the kitchen there, by the end, I was just in tears, like very surprisingly so. And I found it was just like, such a incredible sensory experience. Channeling like all this energy into something that then I could enjoy and share with others. And so it just really, I mean, it sounds really romantic.
All with grandma's popcorn?
All with grandma's popcorn. I wish I would have kept some because it probably tasted like garbage, like thinking back. But that wasn't the point. It was just like, it became my therapy effectively. And because of that, it was easy to just like throw myself at it. And so in evenings and weekends, I would just fool around with popcorn popper. I got really like geeky about it, and I like drilled holes and like put little like thermometers in it. And it doesn't make popcorn anymore. But that's sort of how I launched into it. Was just simply like it just became like my outlet.
And what about it was sensory overload? Was that because of your other job at the time and what you were going through there, or was it just the fact that you did this and made something?
Yeah, I mean, like when I say sensory experience, like the sensory overload, I think was the social work job was just so much. The coffee roasting was like this full sensory immersion, like you're smelling it, you're watching color change, you're charting. I mean, I am because I'm a nerd, but like you're like charting all this stuff and, you know, taking notes and tasting it. And it was just like every sense is channeled into this action. So it was very like focused time, which boded really well for my
super honest.
weird
That
brain.
Kirkland coffee ground pick went right over my head. Now hearing all of that, that's amazing. Like that is a really, really cool coming about to just like finding your love for coffee.
Yeah.
You went over and like, you see like in these movies, like people go and like they find the source of the coffee and stuff. Have you went and traveled to these countries where you're buying the coffee?
My wife wanted me to ask that question. But
yeah. I mean, I have,
like with like a backpack and going over there and grinding up coffee and bringing your little popcorn machine.
That's certainly like mega like where I would love to grow to. At this point, have yet to have the resources.
This is why you're still buying Kirkland Costco.
I mean, we and that was a joke, by the way. We don't buy Kirkland.
Yeah, of course. It went right over my head. It literally went right. I'm thinking to myself, why can't I
threw it out there? And I was like, oh, this didn't land. And I'm like, oh, I should really quickly correct that. No, I haven't done a ton of origin trips myself, short of like, you know, we've been to Hawaii and gone to coffee farms there. I guess it's an origin trip. Yeah. But I was meant to go visit some of our suppliers in Costa Rica right when COVID hit. So I had to abandon those tickets.
Right.
And then after that, the wheels have been spinning so quickly that I haven't been able to sneak away. We have some trips on the books, so I'm really excited about those. But yeah, not a ton of sourcing myself.
No, so yeah, you obviously now the coffee shop is open. What's your address? Where are you guys located?
We are right downtown in the new development district 1881 in Chilliwack, right next door to Fieldhouse.
Yeah, they've done a really good job.
Oh man, it's like
how's that whole experience been for you?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It in a good way. Yeah. It's so cool to exist kind of amongst and alongside very kind of like-minded people. I think they did a brilliant job of keeping it very focused on like small and local, more like an entrepreneurial, like artisan experience. So like, you know, all the businesses there have become friends and allies and resources, and we all work with each other. We're all going into each other's, you know, back doors because we've ran out of this or that or whatever.
That seems to meet your vibe.
It's a good vibe. Yeah.
And I've talked to others there, and they say that they've come from a location where nobody visited from. They considered everybody competition, but there it's something different.
Totally.
And something the developers, do you think they spent some time?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Like the developers, the Algo Bros are just, you know, they're awesome at what they do. Like it's beautiful, it's well built, but they're also just really like beautiful humans who really had a vision of creating an experience. Right. And I think that they executed it extremely well with kind of who they've, you know, put into those spaces, the way they laid it out. And also just the way that they they engage with us. Like we all know them. We hang out. We have kind of tenancy meetings. I mean, this is lame stuff. No one wants to hear about this stuff. But yeah, like, you know, we're all kind of, yeah, like you said, we're all kind of doing it together. The rising tide.
And the luck is cool.
Lifts all boats, and the better we all do, the better we all do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What's the year? 18 what?
1881.
Yeah, the look meets that. It's really cool. They've done a good job. I remember seeing the plans for it years ago as well too. But
I did the tour there, and that was awesome. So it's Phil Elgra. Am I pronouncing that right? So he took us on that tour. And just one part, I won't bore you with it because I like this more than the people I've taken on a tour after. But the stones, he said, if you notice, there's 3 different kind of paving stones, and tried to model it after Europe, Amsterdam, where their family is from. But he said, you can feel the stones through your feet. So if you stand here, it's one feel, over here is another one. And so the attention to detail is awesome.
I did not know that.
Okay.
That's an interesting, that's some hot tea there.
some hot tea. I like that. You can't have all the features though that Amsterdam has for sure. Can we get a look right there on that camera? Look at the back of this. Where did you come up with this logo? Like that's super cool. I like that.
Yeah.
My wife collected these and like sold them at markets for a few years, and we even have one in our house as well too. You get that, Tim? You get that big look in the back? You got it.
So that logo,
thanks for the swag.
Yeah,
that fits perfect.
That one specifically was designed for us by an incredible designer named Alex Suarez. He's based in Abbey. He's actually a stand-up comedian. He's just like an all-around awesome dude. Everything he touches turns to gold.
That's awesome.
And so I remember when we put that together, I like riding motorcycles, and I was like, Alex, like I want something that would look good on the back of a bike, like when I'm riding down the road. And he's like, I got it. And it really fits our vibe. Like we're kind of shooting for that, like, so actually here's the vibe, the smoking gun vibe. I get asked this all the time, right? Like it's like kind of like the deserty Midwest. So when I named Smoking Gun, when we sort of got the ball rolling, I was super into Breaking Bad at the time.
Oh, wow.
And so for whatever reason, it's like it just consumed my mind, that like dusty grandma's Southwest.
Say my name.
Yeah.
Smoking Gun.
So I just love that, like that vibe, that like Albuquerque kind of thing. And so that's kind of how we picked our colors and the decor style and stuff like that.
Did you see Breaking Bad?
I did. I watched, I think, every episode until the last season.
Wow. That's unbelievable.
Why would you stop?
How happened? Yeah.
I can't.
That's
unbelievable. And every night you go to sleep wondering what the hell happened there.
Exactly.
Wow.
That is.
So I got one more season.
Oh,
But Better Call Saul was.
I never got into that. Never watched it. Did you watch that?
You know what? If I'm perfectly honest, equally never got into it. I watched like the first like 4 or 5 episodes, and I was just like, give me something.
Where's the drugs?
Yeah, where's the drugs?
Yeah, we want to see the meth labs.
I want to see a shootout.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, it was all good.
What kind of bike do you ride?
I have a Harley Road Glide.
Whoa, I don't know what that is, but it sounds badass.
It's pretty cool.
Road Glide?
Road Glide. Yeah.
Anything custom going on with it? What color is it?
It's kind of like a speckled flecked blue. So it's like pretty noticeable. Stage 3, if that means anything.
You put it away this time of year?
I actually haven't taken the insurance off yet.
Okay.
I'm waiting for that like last day, but I think I may have missed it. But
And you're fairly new to Chilliwack. I remember I signed up for the chamber. My first event was at Smoking Gun. And I think you said you'd been there a year, over a year. And
so
how's the WAC been for you?
I love it. We love it. So excuse me, I just burped on the podcast. It's weird.
It's okay.
Let it ride. My wife and I and 3 kids, we were living in Mission. And that's sort of where everything got going. And then eventually we moved Smoking Gun operations to Abbotsford, but we're still living in Mission. And then we fired things up here and we're still living in Mission. And so it was a incredible amount of driving. And then obviously we all went through a season where the highway was underwater and had to hide out here for a few weeks trying to keep things going. And I think it was always part of our idea. Like we I don't love driving all the time, and
no, unless it's on your bike.
Unless it's on my bike, but it's hard to deliver coffee on the Harley. But we actually, when we moved, we were renting a townhouse right at District 1881, so like a stone's throw from the shop, which was brutal. But I mean, it was awesome. It was beautiful, but living like 10 seconds away from work. Like I'm like washing dishes and my staff are like waving from the side. I'm like, this is ridiculous.
That's funny.
But now, we got a place and we love it. Love the community. Really, really enjoying kind of settling in and becoming Chilliwackians, I guess.
Yeah. Chilliwack.
How old are your kids?
Ish.
I got 4 too.
Yeah. So like 5, 9, and 11.
Right.
90%
Boys and
sure.
girls?
Girl, boy, girl.
Right. We went 2 boys and 2 girls.
Yikes.
You done? 3? You done?
Yeah, mentally and biologically,
4
I'm done.
and no more.
I made sure to take care of the.
How is that? Is that a thing? Like, is it bad?
No,
my wife and I talked.
It was fine. I won't say it was fine.
It was fine.
So the weird part about that whole experience was like I just went through like the classic like MSP. Like I didn't go like Dr. Pollock or whatever. So just went to.
You went to Dr. Pollock?
Oh, that's awesome. Like the premium package. Wow. Yeah, I just went and I remember going there and it's all like local anesthesia or whatever. Like I'm not under like you're awake. You're
awake?
Yeah. It just froze him. And I remember whoa. That they were getting down to business and there was a nurse like standing right by my head while the doctor was doing the snipping.
Yes.
And I don't know why I needed another person there, but she was just there, I guess, to be comfort or whatever. But I'm standing there feeling the business happening. I'm like, do you need to be here? Like what exactly? And she just kept talking to me, conversation, just watching my junk get mangled. And I don't. Did
you invite her into Smoking Gun?
I haven't seen her since. I mean, I'm sure it was incredibly underwhelming.
Let's hear about the bougie version of it.
Well, they say it's virtually pain-free, right?
Yeah.
That's they shouldn't say that because it's not virtually pain-free. I went through an experience. It was a month. I was, what's going on here?
A month?
Yeah. And then I finally had to book another appointment because I couldn't exercise or anything.
Wow.
And I went back there and he goes, no, it takes about 8 weeks before you're like 60%.
Wow.
So, okay. If I would have known
that was the Pollock?
That was method? Pollock's partner in New Westminster, yeah.
Because, I left the hospital to meet my family at Alouette Lake to go camping. Immediately after.
You go horseback riding too?
And I remember, but I was chopping wood. And I remember my father-in-law being like, should you do that? And I'm like, I'm probably still frozen. I don't know. It was fine. Yeah. But no, I didn't have the 8-week turnaround. But
wow.
Anyway.
So I'm going happy clappy for mine.
Are you having another kid?
No. 4 and
5?
No, 4 and no more. That's what I've been saying. But
what's happening?
Yeah, now we have it on
proof.
It's proof, honey. So yeah. No, our youngest is what I think she's 3. So we're out of the woods as far as babies and infants. And our family's having so much around us too. If we got the baby fever, my wife can just go hold one of our 100 cousins that we have. So we got a big family.
Yeah, Dutch. Well, you're Dutch, right?
I'm not Dutch. I married into the Dutch. No. I married into it. Yeah. But I'm still much, I tell everyone.
Still much.
If you're not Dutch, you're not much. That's the saying.
Oh, okay.
Wow, makes sense.
Have you been able to tie into that? There's a big following of people. I shouldn't say following. There's a lot of people at Rosedale that are Dutch coming right down Yale Road. Are they running into to your coffee shop or what?
I mean, typically when someone comes up, I don't ask them if they're Dutch. So I wouldn't know. Typically, I could start keeping a tally, but I don't know.
Yeah, discount for all Dutch people.
The answer to that question.
Discount for all Dutch people.
Hey, can you tell me? I'll have a latte. Tell me about your heritage first. Where does your family come from?
I love it. I love it.
And I wanted to ask you, why are your employees so happy?
Oh, okay.
Right into it. Yeah. Back to the biz.
They, why are my employees so happy? I mean,
They're happy. I've been in there twice. They're
They
very
seem happy.
They're happy.
We, man, I don't know. They drink a lot of coffee during the day. I think it's exciting for people to be a part of a startup. Like, I think that's fun. It's exciting to be at District, like a place where there's a lot of energy.
Yeah. Good place to work then.
Yeah. Also, it's exciting to be a part of like a greater community, like our staff and the Fieldhouse staff. They all hang out. They go to trivias. It's kind of like a community. And ultimately, I guess that's what we are kind of trying to do. Like, yeah, we serve coffee. A lot of people serve coffee. There's so much good coffee in the world. So maybe I shouldn't say this.
You got a good sandwich too as well.
We got good sandwiches. Yeah. But like nothing that we're doing is that unique. There's so much great coffee in Chilliwack as well. But I think one thing that is maybe semi-unique, maybe not, maybe many other people do this too. But when I train my staff, I really try to focus us and really rally us around this idea that like coffee is this ancient historic thing that the humanity has kind of been interested in. And I think the reason is not so much about the product, it's about how it's always gathered. It's always been this like gathering point, this connection point.
Yeah.
And so when we train, everyone's kind of heard this like soapbox speech from me that anyone, whether you're drinking Tim Hortons or at a gas station or smoking gun, anytime you interact with coffee, it's like this little door in your heart opens subconsciously, maybe consciously. And it's this opportunity for connection. And if we can capture that moment, this doesn't really matter that much. Like, it doesn't matter whether it's the best coffee I've ever made or the worst coffee I've ever made. If you feel seen and you feel heard and you feel like you're allowed to take up space, you're probably going to come back to that type of place. Yeah. But if we miss that opportunity, this could be the best freaking cup of coffee I've ever put in your hands. Again, doesn't really matter. You're not coming back. But if we can capture that connection moment and at the same time put an excellent product in your hands, now we got some momentum and now we got kind of the ingredients of community building. And so circling way back to the question of why are the staff happy, I think it's because maybe they are being invited into a process where they can actually put their fingerprints all over it. They're not just slinging coffee. They're actually more like social workers in a way, connecting with people, having people feel welcomed and seen and accepted. So yeah, I think it's beautiful to do that work. I'm answering for it.
That could go down as one of the best questions answered in BizWack history. Yeah.
But also what it tells me about you're making it more important for your employees. So they are part of the community and connecting with others.
Yeah.
And there's an importance to their work. So you're tapping in, whether subconsciously or consciously, to their values.
Yeah.
You're honoring their values and that makes people happy.
Yeah. And I mean, like I have found that I love our team, all of them. Anyone who's filtered through has been such an important part of the story. And it's also really, really exciting and such an honor actually as an employer to like spend time on this life journey with people who are open to sharing parts of themselves.
Right.
And it's been really fun to discover like, hey, like you got a skill in this. Let's try to use this in this environment, whether it be like graphic design or, one of my staff, she's amazing, has just a real niche for like tech stuff. We wouldn't know that. She's also an incredible barista and just an all around excellent, employee. But now she is like our maintenance lead. And so it's like, we were able to kind of like promote her to use a skill that she kind of had, and now she can explore that in this capacity. And it just wakes people up. It brings self to the surface, and hopefully that makes people happy.
That. It really hit home when you were talking about like how's a how coffee makes people feel. And you talked about the little door window that's open. It's true. It's just like when you drink your first sip of coffee in the morning, or you have your afternoon coffee, it's there. And you can't like discount the fact too that it is like an addiction, right? Like it's I'm not going to say coffee's a drug, but there's some people that would say, like, in a sense, like it is an addiction. Caffeine,
I guess,
is an addiction.
Is.
I mean, I'm not like saying that is a bad thing, but it really is. So now on the top of like people love your coffee, people enjoy your coffee, but overall the experience in your store, you have bubbly staff. And here's another thing that I find interesting too. Remember, like back in the day, like even how old are you?
36.
I'm 36 too. Right on. 87.
87,
right?
brother.
So back in the day, like going to like Tim Hortons, you would see like the good old boys, or you would see like people that were regulars, because generally I feel back in the day, places like Tim Hortons, I won't talk about them too much, actually did a good job at servicing them, not only with their coffee, but customer service, being there, being present in the whole process of getting people through and getting people their items. That's not a thing anymore. Like Tim Hortons does not do that. They're in fact, they're terrible at that. What can we get? Here you go. You're a number, out the door. That's not the experience that I got when I was going to your shop, going to your place. The one girl was actually watched her doing the little design with the foam and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And she like acknowledged me watching that and acknowledged the fact like, hey, like it's not easy doing this and blah, blah. And then kind of opened up and let me watch her do that. And I thought, right, that was one of my cool experiences. And at that point I had no clue you were coming on the show or anything like that, but that hit home. That resonated with me.
Oh, that's good.
And overall, like the vibe was vibe. People were moving too, but they were moving with like a positive a vibe to how they move as well too. And I get back to one more time, these bigger chains, they're just kind of robotic, right? And it's kind of like almost like a annoyance to give you their bagel, or here's your bagel, drop it on the counter. They're not even looking at you and they're looking back where they're going.
Yeah. I was at the airport.
It's easy to spot bad customer service.
It's easy to spot like complacent customer service.
I don't know. Like it's hard to like fault the employee like working in that model, because I was at the airport at YVR and there was a Tim Hortons there and a lineup freaking down the terminal and 3 people there slinging breakfast sandwiches, coffees and whatever, and everybody in line is already annoyed, right? You're already annoyed in an airport, but equally or more annoyed because it's like, A, this is going to take forever. B, it seems like they're not really strong on this, whatever it may be. And I just stood there and I watched and I was like, you know what? I think it's so easy to blame the service part of it, but they exist in really like a failing model where it's like all these businesses who have really acquiesced this idea of like quick, fast food, no wait, cheap or whatever. But then I'm marketing it in such a way that's like, no, but this is artisanal, right? Like this is like Canadian raised beef and 100% this and that. But even our minds are almost like at war with themselves because it's like, I want this immediately. But then when I eat it, I'm already unsatisfied because it's not the artisanal experience 100%. I was expecting. And then you have these people who are trying their best to exist in this model, but without that support. And I think that's, we bump into it at Smoking Gun. I'm sure every business does, where people are upset. It takes a little while, but we are not fast food and we're not going to be fast food. Like it is an experience, like you said. And that's part of the design of the space. We intentionally put the espresso machine right in the middle. We intentionally open up the bar so that someone can watch the drink get poured. And I remember early on, I had a staff member who was a lovely human, but she was always apologizing to people, being like, oh, I'm so sorry. Thank you for waiting. I'm sorry. And I remember early on at Smoking, I was standing back and watching this and just sort of like letting it soak in, this exchange between people. And I went to her later and I was like, you know what? Don't ever be sorry for doing your best. Like people can see you here slinging, moving as quickly as you can. So if you need to be sorry, so now it's kind of morphed into this mantra with my staff, like save your sorries. Like if you have something to be sorry about, say sorry. Like that's an appropriate thing to do. But you don't need to be sorry for doing your best. Same goes for those staff at YVR Tim Hortons. They have nothing to be sorry about. Right. Like they were set up for failure. Yeah. Like, and so it's like, I think like, what I'd love to see is sort of a new evolution of what customer service looks like for people. Like you see it all the time. People are just so unkind to customer service because they're like, I want it now and I want it great, right? I want it quick and I want it to be a mind-blowing experience. Well, that's not what is being offered in the community. So I don't know. Off my rant.
No, that was really, really, like really good. And people, like you talk about what the customer noticed, people notice that those 3 people in the big chain were set up for failure. But people, like you said, just to elaborate, notice that your staff is moving, working, and they're making an expensive, exotic drink, right? That just doesn't go by a hit of a button. So well said. I grab your point as someone who as well too that's in retail. I stay away from our coffee shop, but retail, it's all about how the customer sees the business functioning as well too. So I get that. That was well said.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. I'm blown away by your
I like your vibe, man. We should hang out.
We should.
Let's bring our kids.
I mean, like, let's just hang out after.
I like
and all
that.
those people at Tim Hortons, they didn't get your passionate speech about what the experience is like.
Yeah. I'm sure they gotta have. At this point, you would assume like places like Tim Hortons, they gotta have like a pretty good training program. I don't know any. Well, no, some of my staff have come through there. Yeah, I don't know. Can't speak to that, but I mean, like maybe it's easier for me to say all this because I'm freaking there like every single day, so I'm always interacting with them. But
and you have a roasting shop just pretty close to there too.
Correct. Right? Yeah. So we have a roastery right on site in the coffee shop. So it's a small roaster. It's my first kind of larger scale roaster, and so that exists right in there. And then we opened up another, we call it just the roastery. So it's just production. There's no customer service there. But our larger roaster and kind of bagging line and everything is in there. And that's right down in District as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So your coffee is talking about bagging. Where can we get it? Like you obviously sell it in your shop. You obviously sell it at Smoking Gun, but are you out in the retail world?
Yeah. So naturally we sell at the shop. We have our online store. So those are great places there. But Smoking Gun began as wholesale effectively. So early on, it was just me roasting in my garage and trying to get places to carry it.
Slinging beans. You're the middleman.
Yeah. So one of our first stockists that really kind of got us going was a coffee shop called The Penny in Mission. Okay. So they are like OG, big love to those guys. They took a chance on this weirdo who was roasting in his garage. I mean, back then it was like literally like putting it in like a bag I bought off of Uline with like handwritten
putting
like
coffee
this.
in dime bags.
I can't believe anyone bought that. Like it blows my mind. And then one of our first retail outlets was Spruce Collective. And Spruce Collective has a location in Abbotsford, also a location in District 1881. And it's grown from there. I think we have about 40 outlets in the province, have moved into a couple places in Alberta. And it's fun to see even online sales, like we're shipping to like Hong Kong.
Whoa.
So it's kind of spread in a beautiful way. But it's kind of all over the Lower Mainland anyway. Up in Fort St. John, we got a coffee shop up there slinging it well. And so
they reach out to you, or do you have someone in sales and marketing that reaches out to potential clients?
Good question. So the short answer is no. We don't have any. I'm sales and marketing and mopping and repairs and deliveries, but it has really just been organic up to this point, which like sounds really romantic, but like now that we're kind of here and we're trying to move forward, I feel like our organic wave is sort of starting to wane a little bit. So I think everyone loves the story of like, it's organic growth and whatever. And there's still a certain amount of that. People connect with us. But just recently, our team decided that it was time that we really start putting some concerted effort in our marketing. And so I hired a fella named Spencer, who has just been a breath of fresh air, wind in the sails. He has a lot of experience in marketing, and he's also a chef by trade. So he's been instrumental in, the continuing development of our food program. Just an all-around great guy.
Right.
And so that's given me the ability to kind of evolve in a slightly different role. And so now I am really focusing on more of the sales, our wholesale development, our engagement with our stockists. And then Spencer has sort of picked up a lot more of like the marketing operational side of things. So
that's my next question. You're like, how many hours are you crunching? Like, are you in there making these drinks? Are you in there crunching? Like you say, you threw mopping in there as well too.
Yeah.
So I know you do everything, but how many hours are you putting in a week? And just maybe talk us what it's like a day in the life for you. What time are you getting up at in the morning?
Yeah, I mean, it's changed over time. Sure. Certainly early on, when I first started, I had a mentor who was like, you need to be the one, like, because it was always about like, control your payroll. It's, you're your cheapest employee. I think that was bad advice. But it was like, so early on, I would like probably work a shift a day when we first opened. So be the one there serving. So I mean, I think that was important. I don't think I know that was important to learn kind of all aspects of the business, but also to understand what the flow is like from the floor. Because it's hard for me to speak into things. It's hard for me to support my staff when it's all from the outside, when it's like, I don't have a clue what it's like to close, for example.
Sure.
So I've worked through all the shifts. I still work shifts. Ultimately, we run like a pretty intentionally tight crew where people are getting the hours that they need, the hours that they want. But what that means is when somebody goes off sick or whatever, there's not much for coverage. So I'm probably working probably one shift a week at this point, which is less. My wife works one shift a week to stay connected with kind of the staff and keep our feet on the ground level, as we'd say. But yeah, I mean, to answer your question, I wake up probably about 7, help get the kids situated and out the door, usually arrive at the shop around 8:30, poke around, meet with my leads, whether there be meetings, spend a lot of time in the roastery with that team.
Yeah.
I mean, most of my day is like either fixing a piece of equipment that's broken down or going to pick up.
You got a tech girl for that now, though.
Yeah. But like, as far as like the roasters and things like that. Yeah. And it's just like a lot of like maintenance, like picking things up, dropping things off. Like it's being like the parent of the business, I guess. But yeah, I try to be home usually around 4:30-ish. Yeah. My kids are in a million activities, so it's it's.
What are some of the things they do?
Lots of dance.
Yeah,
we're a dance family now. Some music stuff, piano and whatnot.
Are you a music guy?
I have been. Kind of hung it up a few years ago. But
what did you play?
Mostly guitar, a little bit of drums. Yeah.
You don't post up over in the coffee shop corner sometime and do a little live set or something?
No.
That's funny.
No, I mean, I'd love to pick it up again. It just hasn't really been a season, I guess.
You could always go play pickleball with Hugh.
Oh, not I'm not talking about pickleball.
You know what? I don't know.
pickleball,
I
man.
haven't never been able to wrap my brain around it. The sound of it is so like something about it. It's like, kind of like nails on chalkboard, like that body reaction, just that hollow thump. I don't know. It doesn't work for me. I'm glad you dig it, Hugh. It's good. It's good.
We talked last episode about pickleball.
Hammered it.
Let's stay away from pickleball.
Let's stay.
Yeah.
So now that you've been situated for a few years, you're liking Chilliwack. Your kids like Chilliwack, I'm assuming?
They dig it. Yeah. I mean, like moving kids is never easy. We kind of, as parents, were like, oh, they're young. Like it'll be easy. Like it's been different. Yeah. It's hard to make friends when you kind of like engage a cohort of kids who have been together the whole way. And so, but they're awesome. They're like, they're fun and they're funny and they're doing great. Yeah.
So where do you want to see Smoking Gun go to next? Like, what are your goals for the future?
Yeah. So what I absolutely know is we are going to need to find a new production facility. So the lease that I have for the roastery space in District, awesome space, but we're already outgrowing that. So within the next 2 years, we're going to have to find somewhere else to situate the production roastery. And then that will kind of be a new evolution of Smoking Guns. We have several storage spaces offsite too. Like we can't store all of our green coffee on site. So we have it at other locations. So that's kind of like probably the next few years is like a warehouse or something like that, where we can store everything, have everything under one roof. I would love to explore like other locations to try to experience what we've done here at District. But in other spaces where, maybe there hasn't been, a coffee focused or primary type business. I mean, like I said, there's so much coffee everywhere, but I think my mind is really on these like emerging more rural centers that are seeing a lot of growth because of, people moving out further from city centers.
Yes.
It's just like a cool, it's just like the right ingredients, I feel like, for like cool community building where you have people coming from like an urban center who have this experience and expectation and move more rural. And when you can kind of like blend those together in a cool way.
I think Chilliwack's doing a good job.
I think so.
Yeah. It's one of the biggest growing cities in British Columbia. You're right. There was a lot of people that are selling their house for X amount of dollars from Vancouver, Burnaby area, and coming out to Chilliwack. And that ties right back into your social media and how you're ramping that up as well too. How are you tapping in to the new people? That's something that at our store at Hofstede's, we're constantly trying to reformat how we are tapping into the new people moving in Chilliwack. It's a growing city. Like you just moved here.
Man.
Yeah, right? Are you ready for it? Are we ready for 10 and 10-ish?
We're going to move into our next segment here.
All righty. Yeah.
This is a good one because there was always lots of room to move on this as far as time, but don't peek. Don't peek.
I peeked. I looked at the first question.
Yeah. Okay. Well, good. Then you're loaded for it. So we call it 10 and 10-ish because it's instead of like 10 seconds per question, it's usually like 10 minutes for the segment. So I'm gonna hit you with as fast as you can answer, which is lots of time to elaborate. Don't feel like you can't stay on something.
I need to know the sort of container that we're in here. Is it just like one word answers, or do you want me to like give like? Oh, okay.
No,
okay.
you just. I'm glad you're asking because that means you're not sure exactly what you're getting into.
Yeah,
That's good. Au natural, organic. You use that word. I like
organic
that word.
Answers.
Not because I'm in produce.
We just
because
don't want
that
you to
was
overthink.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm overthinking
Throw it
the first
out there.
question. I shouldn't have read it.
Okay. Right away. 10 and 10-ish on BizWack with Brandon from Smoking Gun Coffee Roastery. What is your favorite restaurant in Chilliwack, Brandon?
Bow and Stern.
Oh, okay, right there.
Yeah.
What are you going for there?
Seafood
linguine?
I super like, I dig seafood. However, I really, really like, and this is weird. The food is excellent. I love like a super high ceiling.
Yeah.
I like being in there and I'm like, man, I don't know. Is that weird?
No.
I like being in there. I'm like, there's so much headroom in here. That's weird. I'm weird. But I also really like their burger. They have and their bar, like on the lower level, you've been in there.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So on the lower level there, they have a bar that kind of wraps around, and there's this like one seat in the corner. And I love it. Like, it's like a great place to hide. And
like when you're coming around the bar, so you immediately left?
Follow it all the way around.
Yeah.
And then you can tuck in there, get a little lunch.
Yeah.
It's great.
I haven't been there yet.
Oh, really?
Oh, man.
No.
Yeah.
I've been to those a few times.
Yeah.
So I want to go.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
You got to go.
They do such a good job. Like, their menu is, the menu's great. There's like enough on it to surprise everyone. Cocktails are excellent. Just a good vibe.
Okay. It is a good vibe. Yeah. Balanced.
Good to know.
And they're your neighbors as well, too.
They are. Yeah.
One word to describe your leadership style.
I
feel like you've did a good job at explaining that through this whole podcast. Just one word.
One word to describe my leadership style.
What about vibing? You're always vibing.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
you're reading the vibe.
I'll receive that. I'll hook onto that. Yeah. Vibing? Vibing leadership style?
Yeah.
Sounds kind of arrogant. I was going to say
That's why I can give it to you though. Yeah,
I was going to say bleeding because I'm like, I have no idea what I'm
doing. Who inspires you?
Who inspires?
This one catches some people.
Like other business people or
anything,
See,
anyone.
I'm overthinking it.
It's okay.
Who inspires me? You know what? I am pretty inspired by a fella named Jay.
Whoa.
At a place called Pressland in Mission.
Okay.
I've learned a ton about leadership from him. Maybe vibing would be the word I put on him too. Yeah. So good energy there. I love the way he presents in his life, in all aspects of his life, and the way he holds his business, the way he holds his relationships. So yeah, I'm pretty inspired by Jay, and I'd recommend everyone go down to Pressland one day in Mission, right next door to the Penny.
Okay.
And give that guy a crispy high five. You'll feel like $1 million.
Once you throw it up there, he's coming back with it.
Oh, yeah.
So what kind of business?
Pressland is a print shop. So Pressland does our merch, like our screen printing. They also have like a apparel and gift store in the front.
Okay. Crisp high five.
Yeah, I was going to say, so it's safe to say if you throw it up there, never met Jay before, he's coming back with it.
If you see Jay and man, that guy gives high fives like no one's business.
What's the best way you spend your free time?
The best way?
Yeah.
I am. Well, yeah, I am such like a time waster. I always I don't know if you're anything like me where it's like when you have free time, you're like, I am going to utilize this time to the best of my ability. And typically I end up like watching trash on Netflix or whatever. Yeah. Probably the best way I spend my free time would be down at Island 22. Have you been down there?
Yep.
Yeah.
Down by the river.
Yeah.
I'm just recently, so like this sounds like a weird I'm on a plug. I'm not a reader. I've never been a reader.
Me neither, man.
Just recently, I've become a reader.
Whoa.
I've been reading books, and I'm like, man, no wonder people like.
What are you reading?
So I have like immersed myself in this like genre of like natural fiction. So like, I don't know if you've ever heard of a
natural
author.
fiction.
So it's like, it's really like nature focused, but then like the narrative is around like people's stories intersecting with nature. So Barbara Kingsolver is one of my favorite authors. Prodigal Summer, great book. This one's probably more common, but I read just recently for the first time Where the Crawdads Sing. Have you ever read that book?
No.
You've heard of it though, right?
No, I haven't.
Oh, okay. So
have you?
A little more popular. They made a movie about it, Where the Crawdads Sing. And never in my life have I experienced like post-reading depression. That book ended and I was just like, I'm so sad that I can't keep reading this book. Anyway.
I've had that.
That's
I bet Tim McAlpine knows.
Yeah, I bet you
he's
Tim
read it
does
too.
know.
There's also a book I read.
If not, he's already
Tim in the- is Tim in the
downloading it.
booth?
Oh, yeah.
Tim's over there.
There's also another book I just finished called Greenwood. Tim, do you know Greenwood?
No, I don't.
Oh man, that was an enjoyable.
Those
book.
are some
So, yeah,
serious
that's
book
the best.
shout-outs.
That's the best way I'd spend my free time.
I thought you were going to say hitting like jumps and stuff at Island 22 on your bike.
No.
Okay, this is a good one. What is your favorite music artist? Or who, sorry. Is your favorite?
Okay, so
We had Bob Marley go out last one.
yeah,
This guy over here.
easily for me, my favorite music artist is Sigur Rós.
Who is that? Siggy Rose?
Sigur Rós.
What's he do?
Sigur Rós is an Icelandic band.
Oh,
They're actually a little bit like they've been around a long
Are
time.
they metal?
No. It's like super ambient, like hippy dippy,
Oh.
very like expansive, like
Expensive sounds?
no expansive.
Oh, I was
like best enjoyed with like a mitt full of mushrooms or something like
Yeah.
that. And like it is yeah. I've loved them for a long time. They recently released a new album after years of no new releases.
Are you playing them in the
What-
coffee shop?
Can you say it again?
Sigur Rós.
Okay.
Sigur.
It's one on a hike
ROS.
and
What's
listen to some Siggy
What's cool
Rose.
about them is very few of their songs
After
are in
some
English,
mushrooms.
so I have very little context to what is actually being sung about, and they actually have their own language that they call Hoplandic. So like some of their songs are just like it's just about like it's about vibe, it's about feeling.
Sounds organically psychedelic.
Yes, sir. Psychedelic is a good word to
I
describe.
like it.
So
Here's a good one. I like these. If you're making dinner, what's your go-to?
meatballs.
Yo.
Yeah, quick response. Kids love them. And you know, a lot of people, even me myself, I'm like meatballs. Like it's like, oh, I got to think about like, what do I put in spices? Literally, ground beef, balls. And my kids are like, this is the
Ground
best
beef,
meal.
Balls you.
This is the best meal on the planet.
I think we might have already tapped into this one. What's your favorite setting of nature in Chilliwack?
Yeah, the river. Yeah,
Yeah.
down kind of in the back area by
You said-
Fairfield
yeah,
Island.
you said
there.
Island
22. It's just like I love the mountains. I love the water.
The
it's also-
river's rolling too.
yeah, and it's
fast.
dope how it's like there's like a full sand beach there.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
in the summer, like why you don't have to go anywhere.
Fraser has good beaches.
Yeah.
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 One thing that you keep putting off.
Oh
Yeah.
Okay, one thing that I keep putting
Should we
off.
let your wife answer this?
Yeah,
question or what?
maybe.
I'm sure my wife's got a few things.
I really sincerely would love to build in some type of like exercise routine in my daily.
Sure.
And in the back of my brain, I'm like, I'm gonna wake up early and go for a walk or go for a run, or like in the back of my brain, I'm like, I'm gonna like structure my day to like leave work and go to the gym. And
Welcome
that
to my thought
always,
process
yeah,
all
yeah,
the
that is the
time.
last freaking thing that
Yeah.
I want to do in the morning or in the evening. And so that leaves it makes it easy to put off. So that
was good.
I have tried to get into some regular yoga. If you can picture me doing yoga.
If you can picture
don't
me,
picture me.
anyone that knows me, but I've been saying I'm going to do yoga for 5 years now. Haven't did one limbered stretch.
Hey, so my wife teaches at Oxygen.
Oh,
Okay.
in
She
Eagle Landing.
teaches
My wife used to
yoga.
go there.
Yeah, she teaches yoga.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's like kind of natural. Like, I'm gonna try it. I love it. I probably look terrible doing it. But I go there. And tonight, well, here's a nice plug. I'm going to do my first yoga class tonight at Land on the other side of Chilliwack.
wow. We'll get that
At the
downward
veteran-
dog going
Yeah.
on.
Hey, why don't you come with me?
Hey, there you go, Tyler.
Yeah, I have hockey tonight. I have hockey at
Oh,
8:15.
What was the name
He's
of that?
putting it off.
I'm doing my own.
What's
I
one
got
thing you're
hockey.
putting off here?
I got hockey.
What was the name of that business?
Land.
Land. Okay.
Yeah, down at the Vetter Crossing. They have a cafe and then a studio in the back. Beautiful, beautiful space.
Where do you guys do your shopping for food? Food shopping.
Food shop.
Yeah.
Typically, Freshco. But by and large, when we're just running in and out, Save on Foods.
Right. What about for your business? Where are you guys getting your stuff from?
We bring in, kind of a variety, a smattering of places. Some of the items are coming from suppliers like Cisco,
right?
Who actually, even though everyone like big business or whatever, like they're bringing in, local items as well, which is nice. So very few items we bring in, like our brioche buns, for example, coming from Cisco. I burped again. We're bringing in the micros, like microgreens from, the name slipped my mind, and
there's a bunch of suppliers.
I want to plug her hard because she is so lovely. The product is excellent, but she's just such a beauty of a human. Is there a way to like plug it on the post end of this? Anyway, beautiful microgreens. She delivers every Friday.
She knows who she is.
You know who you are. And I love you. Anyway, but like, because I can't remember green. Anyway, she delivers every Friday at like 11. So if you want to know, just come and hang out and you can meet her. We're using multi-pack. The deli, just around the corner. Or no, I'm not at my shop. Around the corner from our shop, doing our meats.
What about your pastries?
Oh, yeah. So we are so fortunate, and I extend much gratitude to our baker. Her name's Kelly, and her baking program she calls Edge Piece. And when she started, I remember we were kind of looking for a baker and really needed a staple baking product. We need it every single day fresh, right? And we don't, because we have the roastery in there, we don't have space for our own bakery. Yeah. And so we were outsourcing and trying to talk to people. And a lot of the local bakers who are excellent were like, it's a volume that we can't handle on the daily. Because it's a
lot of work.
This is like one of our key employees in a sense. Anyway, I remember with one of my managers, we were sitting at a table right in the space and just down commiserating, like we're screwed, like we can't find anything. And lo and behold, Kelly is sitting at the table next to us. She's like, actually, like I'm a baker and I'm looking for employment, and I just moved from the valley into Chilliwack here, and maybe I could do that. And I was like, maybe you could. And she's now been with us for 2 years.
Yeah.
And think about it, for 2 years, I think she's taken like 3 days off, like every single day. And she was baking out of a commissary kitchen. And now she is just about to open her flagship bakery in Chilliwack. So she is so good. A lot of people ask us about our baking and why everything seems to be vegan. Not everything's vegan, but a lot of it is. That's not the design. Like we didn't intend to be vegan focused, but Kelly is just an expert at baking things and making them vegan and
making them taste good.
They taste so freaking good. I'm like, why not? Like, why not lower the barrier as far as we can? So like, if it can be excellent and vegan, now everybody can experience it. It's
hard to believe excellent and vegan. Though.
Yeah, it's really good. And then we also bring in gluten-free from Polyfox in Abbotsford.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then do you know the name of her business that she's opening up?
Edge Piece Baking. Yeah. She's got an Instagram.
My wife wanted me to ask that.
Yeah, she's up and coming. She's awesome. Her network's spreading too. I'm so excited to see what she does, because she is going to do great things.
Awesome. Yeah. Your business is helping other people create their own business.
Yeah. She's a gift.
This one, we've come to the last one. This is 10 and 10-ish.
Are we still in 10?
Yeah, this is number 10. And this one, maybe you can tap into some of that Viking gibberish or whatever we're talking about.
Okay.
One piece of advice, saying or expression that you want everyone to remember.
One piece of advice, saying or expression that I want everyone to remember. Yeah, I think what I try to remind myself, what I try to kind of infuse in my team and in my my business and just in my life is how important it is to be connected to self. So capital S, self. Stay connected to self. And I think it's really, really easy to allow the situation around us to pull us away from that connection. And if you remain centered there, the rest kind of is like a trickle out from there. So I'd say like that's like the nugget and that's new for me. I'm by no means some kind of frickin' Icelandic yogi or anything like that. But that's new for me too, is really starting to learn and understand like who am I actually? Like what am I actually about? Like what's actually happening in here? Instead of what have I done and what am I doing? It's like who am I? And then when I can put that into the stuff I'm doing, it gives it a little bit more grittiness almost. It makes it a little bit more dynamic.
Right on.
So I'd leave that.
Right on. This was great. That was awesome. Yeah. Right on.
We want to thank you for coming.
Yeah, this is fun.
As a leadership coach, I like the environment you've created for your staff. It's inspiring. Who am I? Connecting to self. Like you're mentioning a lot of things that resonate to me, and it's been inspiring. Thanks so much for helping. I'd like to thank Tim McAlpine, our producer, as well, for the beautiful space here at CoWork. It was awesome. Thanks for coming.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's my pleasure.
I appreciate that, Brandon. We do got to hang out.
We should hang out.
Yeah, get the kids together, have some coffee.
Sounds good, mate.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks, gents.